Browns wrapping up preparations for the Baltimore Ravens, and Quinshon Judkins, again, back at practice today. We had an opportunity to talk to him as well. And Mary Kay, it does feel like this is gearing up for Quinshon to make his debut on Sunday at M&T Bank Stadium.
Yeah, I think that's going to happen. Kevin Stefanski said today that he did a really nice job with everything in practice. That sounds optimistic to me. We watched him practice a little bit. He looks to be in great shape. He's in great spirits. He's happy to be back here. He feels like everyone has welcomed him with open arms. And until he hears anything from the NFL under its personal conduct policy, he's free to play.
Yeah, that's the caveat, of course. If something were to happen after we film this video or something happens Friday night or Saturday, maybe that would derail this. But Ashley, if it's up to Quinshon, if it's up to the Cleveland Browns, it seems like we'll see number 10 on the field at least a little bit.
Yeah, and again, this run game needs to be revitalized. And we know so much of how they reimagined this run game revolved around Quinshon Judkins being their bell cow back. Last week, they only managed 49 rushing yards against the Bengals. Were unable to get much going in that regard, besides Dylan Sampson getting involved more in the pass game. So they certainly could use him against this Ravens defensive front if he is able to play.
Now, a fellow Ohio State alum, Mike Hall, still not ready to go. He is out for this game, but Mary Kay, it does seem like Mike is getting closer. He didn't practice today. That was part of the plan. But maybe we start talking about Mike Hall next week when the Browns host.
I think so. I think that's the target date for Mike Hall to get in there and get next to, in the rotation, Mason Graham. It's something the Browns are really looking forward to seeing. They want that 1-2 combo in the middle that can get that interior pressure and help the guys on the outside. It's coming soon.
And Ashley, when you look at Mike Hall and the fact that they didn't put him on the pup list, that they did activate him, that was always an indication that he would probably be back in these first four. And we're about 2 weeks in here to him being back at practice. So again, everything pointing in the right direction for him.
Yeah, again, I mean, it seems like he keeps progressing with this, and understandable, I think, why they wouldn't want to rush him. We know they have a lot of D linemen on this roster. Jim Schwartz has his rotation. He likes to go about 9 guys deep, everyone playing in, really, for the most part, the main guys like that 15 to like 29 snap count range. So I'm sure he will obviously be welcomed back with open arms when he can get in there. And like Mary Kay said, we'll see him with Mason Graham, which is the big selling point for this D line.
Now, everything was a little more muted today. Maybe it was just who we talked to, but even Myles Garrett was a little more muted today. He didn't really engage in any of the trash talk that was going on this week, like when Jerry Jeudy said the Ravens DBs were no challenge, when Grant Delpit said it was not hard to bring down Derrick Henry. All Myles engaged in, Mary Kay, was basically saying, we got to back our guy up.
Yes, he really absolutely 100% said that they will back up Grant for saying that Derrick Henry is not hard to bring down. So he knows they have to take that out there and prove it on the grass. He knows that the Ravens heard that and that they are going to be ready to roll. So he knows he's going to have to help back up Grant. Everybody is going to have to, and back up Jerry Jeudy. Myles also said that it is sticking in his craw a little bit that the Browns are what he perceived as 12.5-point underdogs. It might be 11.5 now, but that's not sitting well with him.
In his mind, it's 12.5 because he actually correctly said, isn't that 12.5 now? But look, Ashley, if I'm going into a fight with Derrick Henry, I wouldn't mind having a guy like Myles Garrett on my side.
Yeah, that's a pretty good guy to have on your side in any fight out on the football field. And of course, Browns guys say that all the time. Like, I'm just happy he's on my team. We hear it from the offensive players that they have to go when they have to go against him in training camp and things like that. So yeah, I definitely thought it was more muted today. He also wouldn't really say much about the 30th anniversary celebration the Ravens are doing, or even really Joe Flacco going back there for the first time. So Myles just throwing some water onto those flames that maybe a couple of his teammates started.
Okay, let's make picks. Browns at Ravens, Sunday, 1 o'clock, M&T Bank Stadium. Lots of trash talk. All of that comes to a head on Sunday. Both teams trying to avoid an 0-2 start. So we'll each give a thing to watch and make our picks. So Mary Kay, what are you watching and what are you picking?
Well, I am watching Joe Flacco going back to Baltimore for the very first time. He's going to be emotional. He's going to be so hyped up. He's got still some friends on that team. He's got teammates on the Cleveland Browns that want to go out and win this for him as well as themselves. And he's going to have at least 30 friends and family members there in the stands and 70,000 fans that loved him when he played there for 11 years. So I'm watching Joe Flacco, how he handles this. And it would be a great story if we got to the end of the game and we were able to write the story of Joe Flacco going into Baltimore and beating those incredible odds of being 11 and a half point underdogs and winning there in Baltimore. That would be a fun story to write. Unfortunately, I don't think that's a story I'm going to be writing. It just seems like a really, really tall order. They're going into a hornet's nest. The Ravens are coming off of that loss to the Bills where they just blew it in the last little over 4 minutes of the game. So they're going to want to win this one. They're going to be loaded for bear. The Browns are trash talking. I'm going Ravens 27-17.
Ashley, what are you watching? What do you pick?
Well, I do think it's going to be a closer game than the 12 and a half point. I'll use Miles's number than the 12 and a half point line that Vegas has for this game right now. But I'm with Mary Kay, and a big reason why is I felt like this at the beginning of the week, and even though the way the Browns have been talking, even though they feel so confident, there's football reasons for me to still want to go with the Ravens. How explosive their offense is really the main thing. Look, I think we could do potentially have the ability to come away from this game feeling much better about this defense. I think it's going to be a huge game for Grant Delpit, not just bringing Derrick Henry down, but also Lamar Jackson, maybe using him to spy, and Carson Schwetzinger. So those are the two guys I'm watching and my thing to be watching. And I'm going to go Ravens 24, Browns 22.
Okay, my thing to watch. Look, I said on a podcast earlier this week, Orange and Brown Talk podcast. Look for it on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. I said that I was happy to see some fight from this Browns team. That I wanted to see some fight from this Browns team. So yeah, they talked a little trash. Yes, they said some things that, well, I guess we'll see if they regret them on Sunday. But I was happy coming out of that Bengals game to see a little fight from this Browns team. All of that being said, I'm also going to pick the Ravens to win this football game. I'm going to pick them to cover as well. But I don't think it's going to feel like a blowout. I think it could be one of those games that is close for 3 quarters, 3.5 quarters, and then the Ravens get a cheap touchdown late, maybe a defensive score, something like that, as the Browns are trying to make a play late. So I'm going to pick the Ravens to win this game 24-12. I will say this, though, with that line, with that money line number, all of that, this Browns team, it feels like they feel like they can go in there and win. So if they do, Mary Kay, you might get to write that fun story anyway. And if she does, you get to read it at cleveland.com/Browns.